Hi, welcome to the Arsenal Fans Focus TV. This podcast is all about you, the fans, your opinions, and for the love of the game, take centre stage. Let's dive in. How you doing, Adam?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Pat. You?
Good, mate. How you doing, Jake?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Thank you.
Everyone who's taken who's come across our podcast, please subscribe, please like, please share it with your friends. We're all up. We're here to talk about the Arsenal, about the transfer, what's been going on, what's been done. Are we happy with the business that Andre Alberta has done? And we see and if you guys like what you're hearing, or you don't like what you're hearing, please mention it in the comments and let us know what you think. Right, I'm going to start with you, Jake. How do you think we're doing in the transfer window so far?
So, yeah, pretty happy with everything that's happened at the minute. Obviously, Mosquera's come in and Gyökeres has come in since I think we last spoke. So yeah, obviously really happy with Gyökeres. I know he didn't get much time today, but it's good that he's here training with the lads. Obviously, Mosquera is one for the future, I'd say. As well, it looks like Norgard and the other players seem to be settled in. Obviously, Madueke is going to come back into training after Hong Kong. So it'd be good to see him next week. But yeah, I'm happy at the minute. Obviously, would love to have Eze as well, and maybe one more, depending on outgoings. Did Trossard take a little bit of a knock today? Did I hear that?
I think so. Yeah, he did. He was taken off at half time
because he was one of the ones that I think was coming. Well, obviously an outgoing potentially with Jesus, and obviously players like Sambi and those sort of fringe players look like. I think we maybe need to get rid of a couple of players before we bring some more in. But yeah, if we get Eze and one more, I think I'll be happy.
Adam?
Yeah, I'm with Jake. I think you look back to 3 or 4 years ago, and we were scrambling around for one or two players in the summer, and that was when we were probably struggling to get in the Champions League. So the fact that we finished second, obviously regularly in the last few seasons, and we're still going and getting 5-6 players, I think people have forgotten how desperate our transfer windows were at one point. I heard someone say the other day, I think it's our best ever transfer window. It's a big shout, but it's not far wrong. You look at the amount we've spent. The fact we weren't a million miles off it last year, and it's not, we're not just getting kind of like £3 or £4 million players here. There's some big signings coming in at 50+ million. And it looks like a squad finally. I think, we always had a really good 11, but you look at the bench now and you look at what availability we have, and there's probably 6 or 7 players that would come off the bench now, and you wouldn't be too concerned about the drop off in standard, especially with Max Dowman coming through. Obviously, Waneri's got another year under his belt. There's just with 2 or 3 very good young players coming through at the same time. So there's no excuses this year. Last year the squad did look thin at times. I mean, we'd have to have a real barrage of injuries to be kind of too short this year. It looks like we've got at least 2 quality players in every position now. So as Jake said, I'd like to see Eze come through the door, because I still think the left wing is probably the one place that is a slight question mark about, whether we can upgrade or not. But otherwise, I've been very happy, I have to say. Yeah,
I've got to admit that Martinelli is one of my best players. I really don't want him to leave. I really love Martinelli. There's something about him that I think, yeah, he can do more. He's got that potential. Something's going to switch on him, and he's going to prove a lot of players wrong, and a lot of people wrong. But
because when he was playing, he was a top player, and obviously he hasn't been that consistent last season.
No,
I think I agree with you. I think he is top player, but he needs to be hitting it at this level now, where we are with our squad. He needs to be doing it week in, week out.
He certainly does. But I was watching him today, and honestly, it's making me think now that Arsenal need to get Eze. Honestly, it's really it's making me think that way now, because Martinelli, he's got it in him to take on players. He's very skillful, and I know he can take shots and scores, but it's the opposite now. It's like something there's something inside him that that's not making him believe in himself, that he can do more, and which he can. And the way I saw him today, he just looked lost. If I'm honest, the whole team, especially in the first half, looked lost. I know it's pre-season, I get it, but there was something about some of the players that you just feel, okay, guys, this is the time. This is your moment now. Things needs to start switching on. Things needs to start getting into gear. And Martinelli, and even if I'm honest, even though he did play all right, Odegaard. Again,
would you not say those were the two players last season that were off form, and then towards the end of the season they both started to pick up a little bit? I know exactly what you're saying, but they need that again. It's consistency as well. And
it is consistency, and when I get frustrated when like Martin Odegaard, Trossard, or Martinelli, when they're taking a shot, it's always hitting the first person that's near them. It's not like it's going round them or over them. It's literally hitting at them, and it is worrying for me. But I mean, I'm not going to put them down too much because I really, like I said, Martinelli's I really do. I'm a big fan of his, but something's got to change in him now.
I think if Eze was to come in, I think that would hopefully put a rocket up Odegaard's and Martinelli's ass. To obviously, he's like, we've got a guy here ready to come in and he will take your spot. Even with Dauman, I know he's 15, but he looks different level.
Yeah, we'll talk about Dauman in a minute, man, because I mean, absolutely. I mean, some people had a go at me because what I said on TikTok about him and Lamau. I know, but I love a banter. Listen, I know people are going to say this. I love a reaction. That's me. I love.
I don't think you're too far off it, mate. That's me.
But we'll talk about him in a minute. But okay, so what about again Zubimendi? Great player. I think he's a player that Arsenal need. But I'll tell you, when Arsenal played, was it AC Milan? And they scored their first, and they scored that goal. Really, that was his position. He should have closed down. I can't remember the player that scored, but I don't understand why does players I do understand it, but what frustrates me is when a player or a defensive player seeing an attacker, someone with the ball, and they're right next to your 6-yard line, and you're putting your hands behind your back and then swinging around. Obviously, you don't want the ball to hit your hand. I get that. But you need to attack that player. You can't give that player a space and say, all right, look, okay, I'm putting my hands behind my back, and plus you're making yourself smaller. All right, try and take the shot. And he did, because if Zubimendi did have closed him down, he wouldn't have scored. He would not have scored that goal. But he didn't. He didn't close him down again, and he scored. I don't understand it. Maybe it's me. I don't get why people keep putting their hands behind their backs.
I think you've hit that on your head. I think you said, like, people are so worried now about penalties being given for handball, and I think it's been for a while that people do it. It does look unnatural. I think it might be Newcastle the game as well, wasn't it? But I think it does look unnatural. But I'd say I think I get it. There's been so many stupid penalties in the last 3 seasons for handballs when your hand's been a yard away from your body, and I think people just won't run the risk now. I get your point. I think the problem with the pressing game, you look back at football 20 years ago, not everyone. The pressing game is completely different to what it was years ago. It was kind of like if you're a central midfielder in a 2 and you go and press the 2 in the centre midfield. Now it's like Zubimendi kind of is probably sitting in that hole that Partey was sitting in. He's probably looking to press the number 10, the number 8, and the number 6, whoever comes in that area. And it's a really different game. And I have a little bit of sympathy. I think back in the day, the defensive midfield position was probably a lot easier than it is now. I think when kind of Claude Makélélé came through, and I'm not saying he didn't go through a lot of work now, but the midfield really is. You can see why that Declan Rice and Caicedo go for 100+ million, because it's almost the most important player on the pitch now. They have to get through so much work, and I think anything like that, as you said, is highlighted. As soon as a ball isn't charged down or pressed properly, then the defensive midfielder is the one that is looked at straight away, and it's a bit of a thankless task, and he will come in with a lot of pressure. I think the fact that Gyökeres is coming in at the same time and Madueke, there's pressure on them, will take a little bit of pressure on Zubimendi, but it's a big season, especially because obviously Thomas Partey had such a reputation at Arsenal being so good defensively. So it'll be interesting to see obviously how he handles it. But I think, again, I wouldn't worry too much at this moment. He's not a like for like replacement. He's not going to be quite as athletic as he is, but I think he will be better on the ball, and he will kind of start moves from the back a lot more than other defensive midfielders we've had.
I think we shouldn't worry about Zubimendi.
I'm not. No,
I'm not necessarily worried. I know what you're saying, but I think it's hard with preseason as well. It's just we've had preseasons before where I think we've had really dodgy results, and then we've won the first 3 games and stuff like that. So I
think we're overanalyzing it. If you say 10-15 years ago, you'd lose at Barnet, or you'd win. Nobody analysed it. Because it's on a global scale now. I remember back in the day, we used to go to St Albans, City, Orient, Barnet, and you'd win 2-1, and you'd rotate a little bit, and it was like just getting kind of minutes in the legs. Now, Liverpool, from what I know, Liverpool haven't overanalyzed losing 4-2 to AC Milan last week. They're not looking at that going, Christ, we need another 4 players. It happens. You try things out I read something about, the style, how it looked completely different, saying, are we trying a different style in preseason? Is it the time to go?
Because we were doing, sorry, Adam, we were doing a lot of, mostly we were doing route 1.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, maybe that is going to be the new style, but I think it's a time that, I actually don't agree with playing Spurs in pre-season. I don't really get it. I get money as a cash cow, and we've spoken about in these pods before, where it's all about money these days, and Arsenal, Spurs are going to bring in the fans, but again, the risk of injury in today's game when you're having a local derby and a friendly, the over-analysis of the result, the pressure you put on yourself, whoever's going to lose that game is going to be under more pressure on the basis if you've lost the derby. I just don't really understand it. I think, I get playing AC Milan, I get playing kind of like big European giants, but I don't really understand playing a local rival away personally, but I know it's about money.
I hate it. It should be it is a special occasion, regardless of if it's in Singapore or Hong Kong, wherever it may be, but it should be at their ground and at our ground, and that should be it. It's that special of a game.
So how did you guys feel once we got that? Here we go. How did you guys feel about that when you first heard it? For Gyökeres, sorry.
I was happy, but it's like we knew it was happening for so long.
Yeah.
It's like it takes the
excitement.
Happened in 24 hours. I feel a lot different, but it was just happening.
I think the excitement hit me when we first see him. When he comes out at Old Trafford, be it off the bench or starting, that's when you realise. I think, again, as we just said, there's so much media attention on transfer now. It takes months. I mean, Zubimendi signed about 6 times, as we said before he actually got through the door. Yeah. And I think now it's like, it is exciting. It's exciting seeing him in the shirt and meeting the players. Arsenal put a lot of media out there of him. But you say it's like back in the day, I remember Dennis Bergkamp came completely out of left field. It was like, I think I heard one very brief rumour about it, and then he walked through the door. Thierry Henry, same kind of thing, and even going back to kind of Andre Arshavin, although it was a little bit kind of prolonged at the end. It was like, Jesus, where's Andre? We just signed Andre Arshavin, but we knew Gyökeres was coming in for about 3 months. We spoke about it in April. We knew it was going to be one of him or Sesko. So it does dilute the excitement a little bit. But I think once we see him in the shirt and he gets that first goal, it will all come back. So
I love the fact how robotic he is in a way, like how he's just like, yes, give me assists to Odegaard, and he's just like, he just looks so focused. I don't know if it's just like nothing behind the eyes, but he just looks like.
I'll tell you one thing I did like about Gyökeres is when when they were doing interviews, the introduction to him, like the video and everything, welcoming it, and he came off the plane, then he went into the limousine, and Alberto, before he went into the limousine, Andre Alberto gave him the box and stuff, the welcome box, and with his shirt in it, and he opened up the shirt and he took a look at the shirt and everything else. There was a welcome note, and he was reading it out and everything else, and he felt really chuffed. But at the end, where it said, Alberto said to him, if you need anything, please do not hesitate to give me a call. Okay? If you, whatever it is, whatever you need, please let me know and give me a call. And he laughed. and he looks at his agent, and you know what he said? I don't know if you guys saw it. It's a classic. After reading all that words, all can't wait to meet players, all your teammates can't wait to see you coming to the stadium, blah 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 blah. And then at the end, he said, "Anything, please do not hesitate. Anything you need, please let me know." And one thing he came out and he said, "Just give me assists."
That was Odegaard.
No. No.
Odegaard wrote in the letter.
Oh right, in the letter itself as well.
So then so that's why he said, he said,
I thought it was
if you need
Alberto,
anything, and he's like, yeah, I need some assists.
All I need is assists, and I thought that is absolutely wicked. That was, it made me laugh so much, but which is good. I mean, I'm glad. Okay, we've got the number 9, but I'm going to ask both of you this: is that enough? And I'm talking for up front. Do we need a backup?
I think it all depends on the outgoings. I think Trossard might go. Obviously, Martinelli could be 50-50. I think Martinelli will stay, to be honest. But Nelson's obviously going, and there's talk about Nelson.
But Nelson might be going on loan, but with Nelson, I would, if I was Arsenal, I would not be doing it unless it's with the in the contract. But to buy, what's the thing? Buyback. You've definitely, you know what I mean. If he plays so many games, you've got to buy him.
Like stipulation, like an obligation to buy,
obligation to buy. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say I do think we've got enough. I think, again, Gyökeres is gonna. I think in time will start I don't think he will start every game at the beginning of the season, if I'm honest. But I think he will in time become the 9 that plays every week. And I think, when we'll have one in Martinelli or Trossard that can play through there. I think, Havertz has played there, and although he's not the goal scorer you necessarily need as a number 9, we do win big games with Havertz up front because of his pressing. And I think the goals will be spread across the team, especially if Eze comes in. I think obviously Saka's going to if Saka got a full season, I'd expect 15 to 20 league goals out of Saka. I think there's going to be enough goals from different areas. I mean, Odegaard had a really off season last year, but people forget he got 15 league goals the season before. I think there's goals in the team, and I think there's not many, as I said before, there's not many teams that have 2 number 9s that are of the same quality. So who are you going to bring in that's actually going to sit behind Gyökeres and just be happy with that? I think we've got enough quality to come in, and I think Gyökeres will play most games. So I'm not concerned about our goal scoring. I always felt that we were going to score goals without him, and now with him, I think we'll score a load of goals. The wing is probably more my concern from a creativity point of view. From the left-hand side, because I say at the moment you look at our results in pre-season. I know we scored 3 against Newcastle, but we've had a 1-0 against AC Milan and a 1-0 loss today, and some we are probably still overplaying a little bit. And I think some is that killer ball from the left-hand side that would make me feel a little.
Everything's going down Saka's right, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It is. I get that, but
I'd be surprised if Gyökeres don't start against United.
Would you? I'm not sure. I'm 50-50 about it at the moment.
Yeah.
Why would you? Are you saying 50-50 because of Arteta, or if you was Arteta, I would not be playing?
I'm not saying I wouldn't start him. What I'm saying is I think the Old Trafford, we've got a notoriously bad record up there, and everything we've done in the last kind of 2-3 years against the top 6 is that kind of a high pressing. Havertz has played a lot of those big games away from home where we've won 1-0. And it wouldn't surprise me. I think going into Premier League debut at Old Trafford, when there's already pressure on him, I think, it wouldn't surprise me if Havertz started and he comes on with 30 minutes to go if we need a goal. I think Leeds at home, no disrespect to Leeds at home's a safer debut. And I'm not sure. I may be wrong. I've just got a feeling that Havertz will start the first game.
And that's my part. And that's my day. And there you have it for me. I've got to be honest with you. Okay, that's my worry. Because number one, you say you're not worried because we've got players that can score from all over the park. Adam, it didn't work last season. It didn't work. Okay, you look the season before that, it did work, but last season it didn't. Look, Havertz, I like him, but he's not a striker. Okay, he's not. He did his best as a striker to become a false number 9. It hasn't worked. I watched him again.
Our top scorer.
Sorry.
Was he not a top scorer when he was injured?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
but, I mean,
And
okay, but
but the
he-
thing is,
he-
Brett, I
he-
think what I said was we won, you know, we 18, 19 games unbeaten against the top 6. Havertz probably started 12, 13 of those.
Right,
And what I'm
okay.
saying is we win the games when he plays. He might not get the winning goal, but a lot of the time when he presses against the big teams, that's when we get the goals from Saka, Martinelli, and
Let me ask you this. Who would you prefer up front? And even though, all right, I'll justify why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
Who would you prefer up front? Okay, Ollie Watkins or Havoc?
The way we play Havertz.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm the same. I wasn't sold on the Watkins signing in January.
Nor was I. But he's proven.
That's why I think Adam's saying that, because I think he's so settled in that position and we're so comfortable with that top three.
Look,
that three up front.
look, you can see the amount of chances Havoc has had and missed. He's done it again today. I'm worried, and I'm sorry, guys. This is just my opinion. I'm worried because we will still get those chances, and he will still 9 times out of 10, or how many percentage?
I think longer term, he's saying
I'm worried. No, I'm worried.
Will start.
Look,
I'm not talking long term. I'm talking game one. I'm talking, and Gyökeres will probably start 30 to 32 games up front over the season. What I'm saying is, I believe that as a first game, I think we can win that game comfortably with Havertz up front if we play to the potential we can. Because what Havertz does brilliantly is he presses incredibly well. He starts things from the front. I'm not saying Gyökeres won't do that, but I think he's used to the pace of the Premier League. It's a massive game. If I'd be less worried if it was, again, no disrespect to these teams, if it was a Sunderland away or a West Ham away, then I'd probably throw Gyökeres in straight. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but I'm saying there's an argument to be made that like the kind of continuity we have in those big games with Havertz up front, and if it goes, I don't see United going 2-3-0 up against us. I think they're good enough. So I think at the worst case scenario, you'd be 0-0 with 35 minutes to go, and then you bring Gyökeres on to win the game if you can't get the goal. But I do think we can win it, and I think, as I say, I think Gyökeres would explode off the bench in the first game. And I just think, I'm not saying he can't go and, and he might start, and I might be completely wrong, and this might become a completely moot point, but I just think I wouldn't worry if Havertz started the first game. That's my opinion. Yes,
I would start Gyökeres just for the fear factor, I think.
Yeah.
You would start?
I would start Gyökeres for the fear factor.
I get it. Yeah,
so would I. I'm just worried about the opportunities.
Havertz is probably more up to speed, but
Havertz gets, and the chances that he's been missing. Arsenal again, even in the final third, when Saka normally crosses a ball and it goes a lot across the goal line, there's no one there to stick their foot out to get that goal. Okay, we've missed that. We missed that goal poacher. I think Ollie Watkins, and again, I'm only saying him as a backup number 9, not as our main number 9.
Pat, as a counter to that, what I will say is, if you look at when Havertz has started in big games, you're talking like, when we beat City 5-1 at home last year, he was excellent and he scored. And where Havertz, and he doesn't get the credit for this, Havertz actually plays a lot better generally against bigger teams because they come at us and he starts to press. Where Havertz struggles, and in my opinion, is against the mid-table teams and the lower end of the teams when they have that low block, because there's no, he doesn't need to almost press. You know what I mean? He has to kind of create something himself. But when you look at a lot of his big goals, he scored he got a brace against Chelsea the year before. He scored against City in the 5-1. He scores goals in those big games, and I remember Spurs when we beat Spurs 1-0 away last year. He was outstanding. He didn't score the goal, but he was absolutely brilliant. And what I'm saying is, when teams come at us, I think he's at his best. I think he struggles against the lower block teams, and I think that's where I think Gyökeres, you'd feed a ball into Gyökeres, he'd spin with his pace, and he'd get a shot away, and that's where lower block teams will struggle against Gyökeres.
Then that's what you just said there. I mean, he goes missing. What you're saying is he's there when it comes to the big teams, but when it comes to the lesser teams,
missing. I'm just saying doesn't think he's same as much.
But then that's the problem, isn't it? Because look what we did last season with some of the lower teams. We went missing.
I think that's why you can't look at, and obviously he's a number 9, so you've got to look at the goals, but I think his contribution to the team overall, he in the big games, as Adam said, he is a big player. Whether he gets the assist or the goal is something to do.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's the point that I'm making. We need the goals now. It's
I think he's a little bit
you
underappreciated.
you don't
I'm
win
not saying he's
games
the same
by
level.
assists. You don't win games by assists. We win games by scoring.
I'm not saying he's the same level, but Roberto Firmino, when Liverpool won the league about 3 or 4, well, I think it was 2020. I think he went something like
he didn't score a goal at home.
Yeah, 11 months without scoring at Anfield. And Liverpool fans had an appreciation for Firmino that a lot of other fans didn't have. They knew what he was doing, and Mane and Salah were the ones scoring the goals because he was doing what Havertz does. He did all the pressing, he created all the space. Now, I'm not trying to say he was as good at Havertz before everyone jumps on me in the comments and Havertz is like Firmino. I'm not saying Firmino was not a better player, but Firmino went, as you said, Jake and I just said, he went about 10, 11 months without scoring at Anfield, and Liverpool fans weren't worried about it because they were scoring goals from other areas, and his job was to go and press and create the space for the other two, and that's what Havertz does in the big games for us.
But he's in that way. Is he not similar to Giroud in that way?
Yeah,
where he's probably after the fact when he's left, you realise what he actually did for the team.
I think we noticed it when he went out when he was injured from February. I think we were terrible at times without him, and I think people started realising how good we were with him.
Anyway, everyone in the comments, please let us know what you think. Are we right? Are we wrong? Do you feel that we need another striker, a backup striker? Do you think Havertz is the person that can do the job that Adam and Jake is saying? Please let us know in the comments. I want to quickly talk to you guys about
just on that point. Sorry, do you think they can play together?
Yeah, but not Havertz, more of a
number 10 or a
number 10. Yeah, more of a number 10.
I think that is a good option for us.
I think more of a number 10, definitely. Again, everyone in the comments, please let us know. Do you think Havertz and Gyökeres can play together? How would you want them played? Who would you take off and who would you keep on? Let us know. I want to ask you guys about Max Daumann. Now, I've been talking to people on TikTok and on Instagram about Max Daumann, and now I know people say you can't big him up, leave him alone, just let him get on with what he's doing. Yeah, I totally get that. I honestly feel right now, even though he can't play, could he play?
He can play. He can't play Champions League. He can't play Champions League till December. But he can play League and League Cup and all
so
that.
He can play. He can literally play in the Premier League now.
He can play in the Premier League now.
Okay, fine. Because we were talking.
It's only Champions League. He can't. There's some rule that he can't play till.
Yeah, when Neri came on very briefly, didn't it? At 15.
Okay, fine. Because in the comments, some people were saying that no, he cannot play until December. Apparently, in the Premier League.
I'm sure when Neri came on at West Ham.
No, he played, and where he came on when he was 15.
Yeah, it was 15 when we came on at 6-0. He only got about 3-4 minutes, but no, I think, obviously I think you can, as Jake said, you can play. I mean, I don't see him playing huge minutes this year, but obviously I'll let you ask the question. But
the question is Max Daumann right now as good as Neymar?
Didn't see that question coming.
I think you've got to look at it like, what do we think when Wilshere came through?
I'm looking at
when sort of play. I think he's a level above Wilshere based on what he's doing. Obviously, Wilshere came in and did what he did against Barcelona. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's that good. I know we've only seen obviously what happened last season again when he was in the under-21s, under-18s.
Did you watch him?
How comfortable he is in the pre-season games?
Did you watch any of the games when he played for the England under-21?
Say that again, sorry?
Have you watched any of his games when he plays for the England under-21s?
I haven't personally seen.
I haven't, but I've watched a lot of his clips in the under-18s at Arsenal and that kind of range. And I think with Daumann, I think what it is about him is just it's the confidence. I mean, at 15. I remember, when I used to play football at 15, if I went up to kind of 2 years above you'd have a little bit of nerves about you thinking, oh God, am I in the right place? Even if you felt even if your coach was telling you had the ability to play at that level, you'd go, oh Jesus, 16 and 17-year-olds. He's playing with 35-year-olds, not looking out of place. And it's rare. It's so refreshing to see the confidence of Lewis Skelly and Nwaneri, and Daumann looks he looks like he's just been there 12, 15 years at Arsenal. It's not he should be kind of so scared to go out there with
players. See what he done to Johnny Lenton?
Yeah. I mean, exactly. He was rattled by him straight away.
Yeah, he was rattled. not only was rattled, what made it was funny because I'm trying to find a clip for it as well. When he took on Julian Linton on the right hand side, and he literally was doing some little skill shuffles and going past him, and that's when he got the pet. Obviously, he went into the 6-yard box, and then that's when Joe Linton fouled him, and Joe Linton literally went to the advertisement board, and he just sat there, and he gave a big smile, and he was literally gasping for breath.
I don't think that pen would have been given in the Prem, to be honest.
Well, no, that was a pen. Because
I don't think
that was definitely a penalty.
I think it was
Did you not think that was a penalty, Adam? Or
I think it was soft.
I saw it first view, and
I've seen plenty like a given.
Jake's probably right. He's an easier one to give in a friendly. It probably would have been a bit more analysed in the Prem, but I think it could have still been given. But I say, just going back to him, I just think it's the fact we're even talking about a 15-year-old possibly playing for Arsenal. That shows you the level he's at. I mean, we've had. Over the years, we've heard about countless people in the academy.
But people's been talking about him was 13 years old. No,
I know, but even going back to the early 2000s, like Fran Miranda and all that. He was going to be the next Cesc Fabregas. You always hear the next Cesc Fabregas, the next Jack Wilshere, the next Aaron Ramsey, and very few times they come and meet that. But the fact he's doing what he's doing at 15 is ridiculous. I mean, again, they're obviously. And I think the sky's the limit. There is obviously a little bit of concern. His body will change a lot in the next couple of years. He will grow a lot. And
how would you compare him with Rooney when Rooney was 16?
It depends if he starts coming in and playing games from.
Yeah, I mean, Rooney had a huge impact on the Premier League at 16, so it's early to talk about that. But I think the way he's being talked about at Arsenal's academy was the way that Rooney was being talked about at Everton's academy. So there's definitely comparisons. As Jake just says, he's gonna have to come in and do something pretty big to be kind of get that Rooney stature straight away.
I think he will come. Like, we've got 5 subs every game. I think he will come on as a sub.
Crazy.
I think it'd be stupid to hold him back a little bit. Obviously, I understand he's 15, he's very young, but he's hit the ground running, and he does
Everyone
not
look
a wink out of place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's an element of like you look back at the Man United team of the 90s when they all came through together. The 2 Neville brothers, Beckham, Bart, Scholes, and we've got a similar. I know Saka's a little bit older, but you look at Saka, Dalman, Waneri, Lewis Skelly. There's a huge number of players that kind of have come through that of the Hale End product, and they know each other. It's got that feel of like, yes, we're splashing the cash, but we are so well set for the next 10 years with players that are local and love this club. I know there was obviously a small bit of speculation was behind Waneri, but it's just the level of player that's coming through the academy at the moment is the best.
Even that centre back as well. That is it, Marley Salmon.
Yeah, another one that's got big rep. Yeah.
Okay, so. All right, so you'd like to see him play some.
I'd like to see Dalman come on as a sub in.
Yeah, and I think he'll start Carabao Cup games if he carries on like he is.
Right.
Okay. I think the way Arteta has been doing his subs, I think he was one of the first subs that came on against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Okay, Nuni Madueke.
Let's see how he does next week. I think obviously it's not as bad as it first was. Now we've got a couple more through the door, but to be fair, I've sort of done a 180 on it really, and I'm quite excited to see obviously how he gets on, and we got to back him.
Yeah, because you was a little bit. I'm going to say it. You was a little bit negative.
It's just from what I've seen, mate. To be honest, but
I think
Arteta wants to do things a little bit different. But yeah, go on, Adam.
Sorry, I've spoken to some Chelsea fans about Madueke, and I think what a few of them have said was obviously their finishing was so poor last year. He actually created a lot of chances. I don't know if you saw it. It was a podcast, kind of like a Chelsea kind of podder that was on the streets during last season. They asked him who their best winger was, and most of them said Madueke. And I think when I remember going to Chelsea 2 seasons ago, the night we beat him 5-0 in the first half, he was really dangerous. He gave Ben White the runaround, and I remember watching him, and I said to the Chelsea fans in the office next day, I said, Madueke was really dangerous, but nothing came of it because we won 5-0 and no one and people forgot it. And I don't know whether it was the first time Arteta really noticed him, but what I do like about him and where we are poor as a side is sometimes we cut back on ourselves. It drives me mad at times. I call it the crab football. We like you just said, Martinelli, what I like about Martinelli, he drives at players. Sometimes with us, we go, Like we go one step forward and then cut back, we cut inside. With Madueke, the one thing I say about him, whether it's successful or not, he will drive at a fullback, and he will take players on. And it may not be the right fit. Who knows? But I think what I do like about him is something different. And the amount of times, even with our subs, sometimes we'll play 65, 70 minutes with Martinelli, and we'll bring Trossard on, and Trossard will cut inside and go backwards. And we have the same situation here with Madueke, especially with 20, 30 minutes to go. We go just attack the fullback, just get around the back of him and go. It's something different. And as you said, if it had been the only sign in the summer, I'd have gone, Jesus, that's not that ambitious. But when it becomes like the signing, I think I said at the time about 6 weeks ago, if it had been signing 5 or 6 in the summer, no one would have batted an eyelid, because it's an addition to the squad. The fact he was the first big name that came to the door is that really where the level we're at? But now it looks a good squad player, and I think he could be dangerous given a chance. And I think the fact Arteta wants him says a lot, personally.
Okay, quickly on about who else is there? We got Christian Norgard. Solid play today, by the way. He played really solid today.
I think he's going to be a great squad player for us. Again, in that, I know we keep saying about it, but like that Jorginho role, he's just an older head. I think he's going to probably come on and give you 8 out of 10 every game. You're not necessarily going to do anything out of this world or special, but he's solid on set pieces. He's a leader, loves a tackle, and he seems to have just slotted straight in with the team. So yeah, again, smart signing alongside Zubimendi. And the Madueke one was a bit outside the box, but I think Kepa and Norgard and Zubimendi's proper good signings.
I think with Norgard as well, I think I was reading the other day, like he had one of the top blocks and interceptions in the league last year. I think with Brentford, Brentford have never been a fashionable club. They've been punching above their weight for 3 or 4 years, and they've done brilliantly. But obviously, Mbeumo and Visser have got all of the credit for it. But you actually look at some of their less fashionable players, and Norgard, captain of Denmark, captain of Brentford, played every week, and the way Thomas Frank spoke about him was so high. And to get a captain of a national team who's got 3 or 4 years Premier League experience for 12-13 million is an absolute no-brainer. Again, it's one of those signings that probably, 15, 20 years ago, you go, well, that's a clever signing, because back in the day, you'd sign players from the kind of middle of the league who was either their captain or the best player. No one would bat an eyelid. Now it's like, if you don't sign a huge name or it's not from a big European club, it's like, are they good enough for Arsenal? But you've only got to look at some of the players that have been successful from kind of lower league clubs to big clubs. And it's not always been the case that they've come from, glamorous clubs. And I think it could be a really clever signing.
I think it's like when we signed Arteta.
Yeah.
It was that sort of like, is he that guy? Is he that guy?
Yeah.
He's come in. Obviously, he was captain of the club, fitted straight in.
Yeah.
I'm happy with Norgard, to be fair.
All right, Christian Mosca. I didn't even know he hasn't played yet.
Did he not come on today? I didn't see it. No, he didn't come on today. Again, one for the future. I think got all the good qualities you want in the centre back: pace, physical, and obviously talks to Saliba potentially leaving. I hope he stays and signs that new contract. But as a backup to come on. Obviously, we haven't seen him in an Arsenal colours yet, but I think, as I said, one for the future. So it does look a top talent, but we have to wait and see.
You guys worried about what's his name? So not Saliba.
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Fitness wise?
Yeah.
I hope he's there first game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think
they honest to God, all right, watch the match and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. But I tell you now, the defense looked absolutely horrible. They looked lost. They looked like they didn't know what to do.
Did they not only have? I thought they only had like 1 or 2 shots.
No,
one of them was
they hit the post 3 times.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
at least twice, wasn't it? Yeah.
Not at least twice, 3 times. Yeah. And how Spurs didn't score that? I can't remember the geezer's name with the blonde, the geezer.
Richarlison,
yeah. How we missed it? It made no sense how we missed it. Honest to God, I mean, people had a go at Saka when Saka played in the Premier, in the Champions League semi-finals, and how we missed that. This is impossible to miss. This one was impossible.
He is that player, though.
And he missed it, and it bounced off his head. hit the post, and then went over to the far post, and it just bounced off.
Who was it when? I can't remember what team it was, but it was like the team must have done their homework. Ryle was off his line again. Who? This has happened before.
Yeah, with Real before. Yeah, it's happened with Crystal Palace. Remember Crystal Palace?
Was it Palace?
Yeah, what's his name before?
Yeah,
Caught him offline again.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not moving on from him, but what I'm saying is Arsenal's defense, honest to God, it looked completely lost without him.
I think Gabriel's
done well. I would have given him 7, but
yeah, I think Gabriel was a doubt for the first few games of the season. I think the fact that Calafiori's played centre back in 3 or 4 pre-season games already suggests to me that he's looking at. Yeah, I'm not saying Kivior couldn't come in, but I think he's looking and going like, because Calafiori obviously came in as a centre back. He got played at left back, but I think he's looking at going. He's that natural left-sided, left-footed player to play next to Saliba. I think he is trying it out at the moment. I think he will be
in the squad today, Calafiori, or was he had to take a little knock, hadn't he?
Yeah, but as I say, he started against Stacey, didn't he, at AC Milan and Newcastle centre back, and I just think they're looking at it going like, we have to give him some minutes there because as much as Kivior played there last year, if something happens to him, I think he will play more minutes at centre back this year. Calafiori, be it in some of the other competitions. But again, I don't want to overanalyze friendlies or the pre-season because again, Liverpool lost 4-2 to AC Milan last week. If someone put 4 past Liverpool in the league this year, at any point, I'll be surprised. I think
if Gabriel is not fit, I'd rather have Timber and White along with Saliba and Lewis Skelly.
Now another thing. See, now watch the game, and the reason why I'm saying that, watch Wright. Something ain't right about him. I'm sorry. I know it's a pre-season, all right, and I know he hasn't played, but something ain't right about him. He's like he's lost a few yards, a yard or so. I'm not really. I mean, someone needs to tell him, all right, stop trying to be fashionable with his shorts because he's got one short stuck up his, you know what I mean, and one's down. I mean, what the heck is that about? He does it in training and he does it in the football. God, look, stop it. You know what I mean? You're not on a catwalk. Do you know what I mean? And I guarantee you, I'll give it 2-3 games. You're going to see other players doing it as well.
He needs a run of games though, because he was injured, wasn't he, for a while?
Yeah, I know, I get it, but he did look a yard or two, loss of pace.
Because with Timber out, he's going to be starting at right back.
How long's Timber out for? Is he out, Timber?
I think him and Gabriel haven't been playing, have they?
No, I mean Timber's over there, isn't he? Because I did see him with Gyökeres the other day. Obviously,
he's over there, but him and Gabriel haven't been.
Playing. No, I know. I think they're just being caught. I think that's the thing. Again, we might be overanalyzing some of the lengths of absences because the squad is that big now. You don't have to risk the players like we did. A year ago, even 2 years ago, we kind of couldn't take. We had to take. White played with an injury for ages, didn't he? Like by his own admission, he needed surgery. And I think at the moment now they're going right. We've got the squad that's deep enough to not have to worry about playing some of these players that might have a little bit of a knock in pre-season. I think we've been a little bit more cautious about it. I think once we get to the Prem squad, I think you will see who properly is fit, and I think there'll be a few players that we haven't seen that much of in pre-season yet.
Yeah, I'd like to see him play over the next, Villarreal and Bilbao. I want to see like the start.
What I do want to ask you guys,
rather than mixing it up.
What I do want to ask you guys, your opinion on the centre back that Chelsea just bought.
Hato.
We was after that guy.
We were linked with him for a while. Yeah.
What happened? Why?
Where would he fit in?
That's it.
Where he's not. He'll probably play 20 more games for Chelsea than he would for Arsenal this season. I'd say. He's not. Lewis Skelly ain't going anywhere. Timber and White aren't going anywhere.
I'm going to ask you this then: who would you have rather, Christian, Mosca, or what's his name?
Hato, yeah.
What?
I'd rather have Mosquera just because he's an out-and-out centre-back rather than a centre-back left-back, which we
fine.
We keep
and the fees huge different pattern. I mean, Hato was like 37 million, Mosquera was 13. So, again, I think 13 million, like a little bit like the situation I said with Norgard a minute ago, 13 million for someone that played 34 La Liga games, was it last season for Valencia? I mean, that's I don't even know how we've done it, if I'm honest. I don't really know what Valencia are doing.
Adam, do you not think,
I think the last 3 years he started most games.
Do you guys think now, come on, it's time now we start acting like a big club? I'm not talking about, we're talking about money-wise, I get it. It's always good to knock money down, get value for players. But if you need a player, stop pussyfooting around and get that player.
I don't think it was ever. I don't think it was ever a
need
conflict
Hato?
thing. Yeah, so I don't think we need him.
Okay, fine. Well, that's a different story. And
like we
saying
said, like we said at the end of last season, we're only like 2 players away. We were saying, weren't we? Like a striker and maybe something
I get
else.
you, but I think we need to stop thinking about the money aspects now, because Arsene Wenger said back in 2006, when we leave in Highbury, we need to leave here to compete with the big boys, and that's it. So what that
but
said
we have
to me,
spent 200 million.
well,
Like,
no, well, sorry.
We spent 200 million, and
I get it, but
without
then
being boring,
talking about you're
without being
comparing.
boring, PSR is obviously a thing, and there is still talk of having to get a few out the door. And the difference between 13 million and 37 million might be the need to sell Martinelli, and that's the difference. To balance the books. I don't think Arsenal look at Mosquera and going, he's any worse than Hato. I think they're just looking and going, Hato probably isn't going to start ahead of Gabriel and Saliba. Mosquera is not going to start ahead of Saliba and Gabriel, but he's slightly younger and he's got a very high ceiling, and he might start in 2-3 years depending what happens. And I think Hato was going to only go to, like you said, he's going to Chelsea. He probably will get ahead of Colwill or Tosin or someone that isn't quite as good as Gabriel and Saliba.
Okay, please, everyone who's again watching this, please do us a favor. Please subscribe. Please do the likes. Please share it with your friends. Also, please comment. Tell us what you think about what we're talking about. Do you think Arsenal should be acting like a big club now, spending the money, or do you think Arsenal's has got the right philosophy in getting their money's worth? Let us know in the comments. What I would like to ask you guys this as well is, how you guys feeling about Sesko, man? Maybe going to Man United?
It's a weird one, because the whole over the last 2 years, 18 months, it feels like we were battling Leipzig. They were not budging on the price. Now all of a sudden we've gone and got Gyökeres. Now Leipzig have dropped the price. It makes me think like the player only wanted United, potentially. It's just weird how after we've got Gyökeres, Leipzig have now gone, okay, we're not saying 90 million, we're now saying 70 million, and now talks seem to be.
I don't know about that, but I think he would have wanted. I think he would have come to Arsenal.
Don't get me wrong, but it's just weird how maybe his preference was like Gyökeres' preference was us. Maybe Sesko's preference was.
I think he was aware. I think Leipzig or his agent ballsed up, and I think they tried to be a bit too clever about it, thinking that everyone thought Sesko was our number one target. And I think Leipzig looked at it and went, "Can we drive Arsenal's price up? Can we drive it up?" And I think the agent again, and I think they pushed it too far. And Arsenal went, "You know what? We're not having this." Gyökeres at the time was kind of like, he was all about Arsenal. We wanted Arsenal. I think they got to the point where they went, "You know what? We can't be asked to play these games with Leipzig. Gyökeres wants us." And I think they were left like in shit. We were actually going to sell to Arsenal, and they were left in that situation.
Money.
Yeah, and now they're thinking, right, okay, United's our only option. And what I think I said in the last podcast.
Well, and Newcastle, not just United, and Newcastle as well.
Yeah. Well, in Newcastle as well. But if you look at I said about Man United's payments, and I think they've overpaid for a lot of players in the last 4 or 5 years. And I think Leipzig are now looking at it going, United are still desperate for a striker. Can we get the 70, 80 million out of United that we wanted out of Arsenal? And I think United will get to that point where they'll just go, you know what, we need to pay that money. Højlund, no disrespect to Højlund, he was never an 80 million pound striker. Like, he'd done nothing to warrant that. Like, nothing to warrant that money. Whereas Gyökeres, you look at Gyökeres, 97 goals in 2 seasons at Sporting Lisbon, and we get him for 65 million. United will probably end up paying more for Sesko than we did for Gyökeres. And I think Arsenal went, you know what, enough's enough. Like, we won't be taking the piss out of. And I think United will probably, one of United or Newcastle will probably get him, but probably at an overinflated price, and Leipzig will probably get the money they want out of him.
Anyone, again, people in the comments, let us know what you think about that, about the Sesko deal. Would you guys like to have seen him at the Arsenal? Would you like to see him and Victor Gyökeres at the Arsenal?
One deal that has annoyed me a little bit is that.
Sorry, hang on, mate. Just please, please let us know in the chat. Let us know. Please subscribe. Please like, and please share. Sorry, mate.
It's just that Xavi Simons to Chelsea. I just think it's just going to be another wasted player that goes to Chelsea that is top quality. I think certain players, they're just not going to flourish at that club. If that makes any sense. I feel like if he came to an Arsenal, we'd have a much different.
Why are you thinking like that?
I don't know. I think Xavi Simons is an Arsenal type player, and I think it would have been good for us to.
But then why didn't Arsenal go for him then?
I think it's just Chelsea have just paid the money and they just don't play games.
See, but there you go. And
but then it's not necessarily a clever thing.
I said to Adam.
I think they're overpaying though. They're
asking the question why we didn't get him.
Yeah.
I don't think he was Arsenal's top target. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but I don't think he was ever the top winger target. And again, I'll probably bore people about this, but I say Chelsea are very. I don't want to use the word clever because I don't like what they do. I say the fact they sold João Felix for 50 odd million. João Felix has done nothing to warrant 50 million. You're not telling me that's not a dodgy deal to Saudi Arabia again. There's always Chelsea sell to certain clubs that that are very clever. They're very clever what they do. I've used the word clever after all that, but I don't like it. They sell João Felix to Saudi Arabia, and there's links to Todd Boehly with that club, and you think they know what they're doing, and Arsenal don't go down that route. And there's no risk with what they do because they know they can sell their players onto other clubs for big money, and it's dodgy. And hopefully they'll get looked into at some point because it's.
Do you think Chelsea are title contenders? Contenders.
I think a top four is very. I think I'll be surprised they didn't make top four. I think if they are going to be, it's where we were 3 seasons ago, where it's going to be a little bit of a surprise. They might be a year ahead of schedule. I think if Chelsea got top 3, they'd be delighted personally behind closed doors. I think they'd be making the right noise about being title contenders. I still think Robert Sanchez over a season's not good enough. I still think centre back wise they need a little bit more. And as good as signings they are, I still think they're probably. I think João Pedro is a good signing, don't get me wrong, but I still think they're like a top class striker away as well. So I'd be surprised, but they could surprise me.
I think they'll do similar to last season where they started well and then sort of failed off.
Okay, well, all right. I just want to ask you quickly your thoughts on Isak. We cannot do this without having a chat about Isak. What the heck? Why did he wait until Arsenal get?
Well, both. Liverpool getting Ekitike as well. I
think he's thinking now or never. I've got to do it. He's throw all his toys out the pram. Obviously, they've just got 75 mil for Luis Diaz. But I think Liverpool could go and do it. I think they were talking about 100 mil or 120 mil. I think Newcastle, if they're going to do it, they will hold out till maybe the end of the transfer window. But again, they're going to have to get someone in.
Let me ask you this: who's holding the cards? Newcastle, the owners, Isak,
Isak and his agent,
or Liverpool.
Newcastle are falling apart this summer, and I'm not trying to wind the Newcastle fans up if they're watching this, but Newcastle win their first trophy in 60 odd years, and they get in the Champions League, and they're probably the worst summer I've ever seen him have. I was really thinking there was a point at the end of the last season. I thought, they finished the season well, thinking if they can go and get a striker that plays, up front with Isak, get a couple more in, they could be really like dark horses for the title. And God knows what's happened to them. I don't know what's happened. Like it's almost like they were slow out the traps. Mbeumo was beaten. United got Mbeumo. They lost out on a few different players. Livramento started getting linked with City, and it's really weird. It's almost gone the other way.
Can't get this or over the line, can they?
Yeah, and it's really weird. And I think the Isak thing, I think there was obviously a real confidence in Newcastle that he was happy to lead their line, and I think it's come a bit out of left field that he's asked him to for a move. And I don't feel sorry for him, but I think it's a little bit of a mess that they didn't really see coming.
I think the way Isak's handled it is not great, but if I was Newcastle, I'd be forcing him to come in and even if he was training on his own, it's like you can't be doing. He's training with his former club. It's just like
guys. What a plus as well. What you got to remember, he's still got 3 years left on his contract. That is why I believe. I think Newcastle. Sorry, I was just going to say, 20 years ago, I feel like the clubs had the power, and now players have got the power now.
Players can go. Look, I'm not turning up. Lord Gyökeres did the same.
I didn't know. I don't know if you saw it. I wasn't aware of this, but I was looking at Gyökeres' Sweden record compared to Isak's. Have you seen it?
Yeah, better. better.
You're much better.
Yeah. 26 and 15 or something.
Yeah, like and less games as well. Gyökeres is like 1 in 2 for Sweden, and Isak's more like 1 in 3
Yeah,
to
but they've
4.
they've both got the same goal tally though, 21.
No,
I think Gyökeres is better, isn't it?
Yeah, Gyökeres got more in less games, I think. But I'm not. Look, again, I'll probably get absolutely killed in the comments here. I'm trying to claim that Gyökeres is better than Isak. But what I'm saying is, I think we all know what Isak can do, and I think people are questioning. The reason why I say it is people are questioning Gyökeres being in the Premier League. They're not questioning Isak because they've seen it, but in the same games and against the same teams, Gyökeres has got a better goal scoring record. So I don't really know why there's such a fear factor that Gyökeres won't be able to translate it to the Premier League when he's done it for Sweden. He's done it in the Champions League for Sporting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. But going back to the Isak thing, I believe that Newcastle are holding the cards. The cards in. They've got the better hand because they can turn around to Isak and say they can play hardball and say, right, okay, so they can go to Liverpool. We want nothing less than 150 mil. Plus, we want add-ons. Okay, they can do that. Or they can turn around to Isak and say, look, unless Liverpool come in and give us this, you're not going anywhere. Okay, you can sit on the bench. If that, I know they won't do it, but they can. Look, I know they won't do it. But if the owners, if the clubs want to take back the power, they need to do these things because otherwise, this is going to be a trend, and the clubs and the players are going to hold the clubs to ransom. Players need to understand they're not bigger than the club. And the club needs to show them that we're the institution. We're the one that's bigger than you. And if that means I've got to lose this money just to show that this is not going to keep happening, because what's to say one of the other players in Crystal Palace, in Newcastle, won't do the same thing next season? They need to put their foot down. I know what you're going to say, Adam. I know what you're going to say. They don't want to lose money, blah, 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 blah.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. What I was going to say was, I think as a player, let's say I was Sesko. Let's say I'm Sesko and Newcastle start playing hardball with Isak and they don't want to sell him and he's got 3 years on his deal. I think you're right. It sends out the right message. But as a player, if I was Sesko going, I'm going to sign a 4-year deal with Newcastle, I want to leave in 2 years. Would I get a move and would Newcastle play hardball with me? That's the problem you have. And as much as the club is bigger than any player, but it's very rare that you keep a player of that caliber unhappy, like for 2-3 years. It doesn't happen. Like even Cristiano Ronaldo, United didn't want to lose Cristiano Ronaldo to Real Madrid in 2009, but they looked at it and went, he wants to go to Real Madrid. Like, we don't need to sell him. We don't want to sell him, but everyone has a price. Spurs with Bale, very, very rare that you're able to hold on to one of the most expensive players in the world.
You're right. I get that.
But Newcastle, if they sold him now, they get the 130 mil, 140 mil. If he didn't play for a year, he's going for 70 mil next year, 60 mil if that.
No, I don't think
he disrupts
because he's still got 2 years on his contract. He's got 3 years. 2 years, you still can pay over 100 mil for that player.
Anelka was it with us. We didn't need to sell Anelka, but Anelka's brother was in the media every day.
I know.
It's the same situation. At some point, you have to go, okay, you know what? We have to cut our losses here because we don't need that don't need a sulking player around the dressing room.
But you're giving that player or these players now. Yeah, you hold the cards. Go home, throw your dummy out the pram. Okay, so cross your hands, screw your face. All right, and they'll give you what you want.
If we're being unbiased about it, and we take it, Gyökeres has done exactly the same thing to Sporting.
Yes, I know.
What I'm saying, we're happy we're on this side of it, but
even when
should dig their heels in with Gyökeres because we wanted.
Even when I found out what Gyökeres was doing, I totally came out and I've got it on record. I totally disagree with what he's doing.
So do I. I agree, and I'm glad to have him.
Because he can do that to us.
Just we need to think and pump the brakes. We need to see. Okay, was there an agreement between Gyökeres and the president? Is there agreement between Isak and the people at Newcastle? Because Eddie Howe's come out. Eddie's like, I've got no control of this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's what's making me think. Okay, I've got you to this position. We've agreed at the start of the season. If X, Y, Z happens, then
fine. Everyone in the comments, please let us know what you think. Please, please subscribe. Please like. Please share it. Let us know what you think, what we've just talked about. Okay, and if you agree, you disagree, please let us know. Before we end, guys, I'm going to ask you your prediction top 5 for the season, end of season. I'm going to start up with you, Adam.
In order?
In order.
God. Okay.
Don't worry about it. If you get it wrong, I'll edit it out.
I'm going Liverpool and Arsenal top 2. I think it's going to be really close between the two of us.
So Liverpool and Arsenal. So it's going to be Liverpool. That's what you're saying. It's Liverpool.
Well, I said Arsenal last year, and I attempted, and I ruined us. So I'll go Liverpool first and hope I'm wrong. I'll go Arsenal second,
Right.
Man City third, Chelsea 4, and I think 5th's really open, but it pains me to say I think Spurs might get 5th.
Don't worry, mate. I'll edit that out. No one needs to know you said that.
Sorry.
What do you reckon?
I think Man City are just going under the radar a little bit.
Big time.
And I think it will be Man City or Arsenal. I think Liverpool 3rd, Chelsea 4th, and I don't know for 5th. I think there's such a vast amount of clubs. I hope it's not Spurs.
Before we do that, you just remind me of something here. Do you agree with what Arteta said? There's about 8 clubs that can win this.
I think
Come
he's
on,
taking
8
the pressure
clubs.
off himself a
8
little
clubs. Name me the
I think
8.
Wenger said it years ago, didn't he? Like when he first came in, there was about 8 clubs to win it. I think you'd be surprised if someone outside of the top 4 we both mentioned wins it.
Yeah.
Even Chelsea would be a little bit of a surprise.
No,
I mean,
okay, fine. If you say 5, even if you said 5, but 8.
Yeah, no, I think again, it's a nice thing to say. It's kind of like respect for the teams.
Yeah, but the thing but that's throwing again. That's giving people when he says that, it's giving people ammunition. Because when I heard it on Talk Sport, again, I didn't really want to talk about it because I mean, some of them are idiots on there with the way they talk about.
Was it not for the Champions League spaces though? Not number 1.
No, he said that there's 8 teams in the Premier League that can win the league.
Do you not think it cranks the pressure up on them a little bit, Pat? Though, because everyone's talking about it has to be Arsenal's year, and I think what he's doing by that.
Yeah, but then that's giving him excuses. That's what they're saying.
No,
he's now coming up with excuses that why he won't win the league.
No, I don't agree with that. I think he's just saying that like it's a very competitive league. I don't think he's saying we won't win it. I think he's saying that if Spurs are going to splash the cash and United are splashing the cash, Newcastle, Villa are all going to splash the cash, then why are they not being talked about as title contenders?
No, got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, guys. Well, listen, I'm going to wrap it up now. Really appreciate everything you guys have said. Everyone in the comments, again, who's watching the videos, please subscribe, please like, please share, ring that bell, and let us know your comments. And final prediction on Arsenal's first game. Adam.
The United game?
The Man United game.
Well, if we win at Old Trafford, it's normally 1-0, so I'll go 1-0 Arsenal.
Going 1-0 Arsenal.
You took the words out of my mouth.
You going 1-0?
Yeah. Second half.
I'm going
70th minute, Gyökeres, bang.
Okay. I'm going for a 2-0 win to the Arsenal.
Every time we've only ever won 1-0 in the Premier at Old Trafford. There's your little quiz question there, Pat. Yeah, we've only ever won 1-0 at Old Trafford in the Prem.
Okay, cool. Right, everyone in the chat, thanks very much for participating. Please follow us. The podcast we do once a week, every Thursday. I'm also thinking about doing some live podcasts on YouTube. So please look out for that. I'll let you know when that's going to happen. Thanks very much.